Kua hui anō tātou mo te Blockchain Navigators, and I really want to welcome our next kai kōrero, our next mātanga, Haycrypto, to our Blockchain Navigators whare. Nau mai, hara mai, te tuahine.
Kia ora.
How's things going in the crypto world right now?
Oh, a lot going on, really.
We're in that dip. All right,
Yeah.
well, before we get into that, just for our whānau at home, be real keen for you to introduce yourself. Tuahine, like, who are you? You know, your sort of background and what got you into this world of Web3, of blockchain, of crypto, of NFTs, those sorts of things.
Well, kia ora. I'm Hayes, or Haycrypto, and so I kind of had a kind of different journey into this space. So I kind of got started in 2017 time, and getting started into the space, everything's like there's not much resources out there, so I kind of had to like scrape through what I could find to learn along the way, and that's kind of how I built Haycrypto. And like there's so many other reasons as to why Haycrypto came about, as to like my passion in the educational space, technology itself. So it kind of just bundled in together as to how Haycrypto came about. But yeah, love the crypto space, love learning new technologies pretty much, which kind of got me first interested into the space, because my background's in technology.
And when you say a background in technology, did you studied it or you worked in there or?
Yeah, I studied technology management at Massey, and it kind of filtered in through there how I came about it. And just working in it and fully being within that space that kind of just sparked that curiosity in this world. So
that's cool. And so that kind of technology space, and then education, you're saying, is another like passion of yours?
Yeah, I definitely got into like teaching recently, or like in my previous role. And I wouldn't have thought to be an educator. Like I'm quite like to myself and quite hidden, but like I love it. I love the way it makes other people feel to go home and be like, oh my god, I learned how to use a mouse, or basic digital skills. So
sorry, my little kitty's going off. Visitors. Aroha mai te whānau. So like combining those passions of teaching and learning and the Web3 space, that's what's led you to create Haycrypto. Now tell us about a little bit about Haycrypto, because there may be a couple of people, there won't be many, but there'll be a couple of people who haven't seen or haven't heard about you and the mahi that you do.
So with Haycrypto, I've basically made like an educational space with how to get started in crypto, how to get started in NFTs, and basically but just the necessities you kind of need to start into that crypto space. So and
you've grown like quite a following, and like quite an engaged following, because I know I myself, when I started into the space, you were one of the first ones, one of the first accounts that I sort of, started looking into and listening to.
I did not expect it, really. I was kind of like, my mates that run Hidden Figures, they were pushing me towards, getting into that social media limelight, and I didn't expect it. Like, and then I thought, okay, I'll have my goals to get at least 2K followers in the next year or two, and I got it within like a couple months, and I was like, oh shit, like that's so cool. But it's not even about the following; it's more of the engagement.
Well, it just shows that people are hungry, It shows that people are hungry, and that was one of the questions. Just did an interview this morning with or this afternoon with Ao, talking about safety online, and Tumama quoted a study that was done a little bit earlier where they were saying like, hardly any Māori were kind of looking into this digital space, whereas, we had the block party there last month, and I would say like 80% of the kai kōrero were Māori, and 80-90% of the audience, all the people that were there and hungry to learn, were Māori. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're definitely stepping into the space, and also, you know, just props to you and our other wahine who are leading in this space. Like it's really massive to see. What's it like for you as a wahine stepping into the space? Because I know like a lot of the fellas that you see on you know, all the people that you
Yeah,
see on
yeah.
YouTube and stuff, mainly dudes, eh?
Yeah, literally. I think it's really strange, but I'm kind of used to it in a way because I've worked in like tech before in
Yeah,
IT. That even just being Māori, you know, and a wahine at the same time in a tech
yeah,
space, it's it's different.
yeah,
um,
yeah.
so then like moving towards crypto, it's a whole nother story. But there's no barriers to it. It's kind of like you just do it.
Yeah, so it's not like there's something stopping you, but it's just that the majority of the people are
Mm,
in the space are tani. So, but
yeah.
props to you and our mates who are holding that space as wahine Māori especially,
Mm,
because you know, like I know from conversations that we've had, and you know, the whole reason that we set up these wānanga is about getting our people growing and thriving and moving safely in the space. And so if we can have, that's the thing that really, you know, I was real stoked about with you, is like, here's a wahine Māori that we can hold up as like anei te tahi tauira. She's got some really good things to say. She's really thought it through, and you've actually got some experience in the space, eh? Like you're actually working in the crypto space now. Can you talk to us
yeah.
about that?
Yeah, so I do like, Mahi in the crypto industry, and um, I wouldn't have thought like my journey to this crypto space is crazy because I actually had a job lined up in Sydney in bloody software licensing,
Oh,
ready
you're
to
gonna bugger
go.
off, eh?
Yeah, I was gonna get it.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh my God, you can find a career in crypto. And so I just started looking, and I've just found a new home at Easy Crypto. So it's been awesome and full on information. But I think it's all about condensing it, processing it, and then sharing it. So I'm really grateful that I have that kind of tap in knowledge to be able to share with our people.
Yeah, so you're in a space where people are looking at this every day. Hey, and then like your
Every
particular
day.
role in that, are you like are you in a support role, or what kind of role? You know, what can you tell us?
Oh, I don't know what
Is this
I,
a secret?
I do a range of things, but most importantly, like working within the customer support area. And there's so
Yeah,
much that I see every day, but it's also, supporting, compliance and supporting social media and the educational space. So, yeah,
oh, so it's
most
your jam.
importantly,
It's your jam, pretty much. Hey.
yeah, pretty much everywhere. But I love it, and I think getting involved,
Yeah,
it's best to put up your hand, even in any industry, not just crypto, but just
yeah,
put your hand up and be like, oh, can I have a look at that? Or like, oh,
can I have
can
a
I have a
crack?
jam?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, like that's all I've done with the blockchain navigators, is like I need to learn about all this stuff. I can see really clearly. I can see that this is ko tēnei te apopo, ko tēnei te Hawaii ki hau. Um, I can see that, you know, it's a dangerous space if we don't move carefully. I can see that there's a whole lot of potential in this space. So I was like,
Mm.
man, I need to learn. Okay, where am I going to learn? And I started down that YouTube track, and there are some really really good you know, channels that are putting out really good information. But then I was like, yeah, but nobody, you know, talks or looks like us. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
there's nobody here, and so I was like, man, I've got some onto it mates
Mm.
here in Aotearoa who are all at different stages. You know, they're all tuakana or teina. You know, we're all tuakana and teina in different spaces, and so I thought, oh, we'll just get a few of our mates together, have yarns like these, and
Mm.
each little taonga that you bring adds to the wānanga, you know, and so our
Yeah.
people can all learn together. So it's awesome to be able to have a yarn with you. And you know why I'm interested why you're doxed now. You're doxed now. We can see your face. Why was it a hidden thing, like our hidden figures mates as well? Like for you, what was that about?
I think I am so to myself, and I don't like being in the limelight or, showing my face. But like when I think about it, the space is growing so fast, and
Yeah,
we need to see faces. We need to have that trust with people. And I can't do that if I'm behind a screen. Like, I can't go to Wānangas, I can't go to events, and I love to. After the block party, I was like, oh, I'm thinking of doxing myself because I love these kind of things. And I wouldn't have thought until it happened. So
until I hit you up and said, "Sis, can you come and be on our panel?" And
took a while to agree.
And can you
last minute.
It was, it was. But
yeah,
and that's also a thing, like being undoxed or you know, like having avatars and stuff in this crypto space, in this Web3 space, NFTs. Like, that's a huge thing, eh? And there's all sorts of reasons. Like, I know there's security reasons around why some people don't dox, and you know, things like that. But I think, especially as Māori, and this is something that I've, you know, had yarns to some of my other mates about, is like, he kanohi kitea, you know, like, if I can see you, if I know who you are, I automatically have a lot more trust in you. And that's a Māori values kind of thing. Like, we can still have our reasons to be undoxed, and that's cool. But this is one, and, you know, having you there as a Wahine Māori is like, that's massive. That's massive for other Wahine Māori to see and go, yeah, well, she can do it. She's on. You know, I can do it too.
hard.
Yeah. So why Web3? Why blockchain? Why crypto? Why NFTs to you? You know, like, why is this important?
I think like for me with Web3, you know, it basically puts the power into the individual's hand rather than like big corporations. So that's how I look at Web3. And also, you know, having ownership of, you know, your content and your data. And so that's something that I'm real big on. Like, you know, I think I studied a paper on like big data analytics and stuff like that. And it's really crazy with what these corporations hold on you.
Can you break that down a little bit? Because I think, like, I've looked into it as well. And I know some of our whānau will have, but I know some wouldn't have. So what does that mean? Like, when we talk about data, what does that actually mean?
So like data as in, like, you know, your name, your where you live, your IP address, or like, you know, your internet history. It's just everything that revolves around you as an individual and what you've been doing online.
Yeah. And that goes down to, especially Google, what you've searched for. So like, if I'm like hard out into cars and I'm always searching cars stuff, then the kind of ads that they're going to feed me, because the data that they have on me is going to be more car stuff. That sort of thing, eh?
That's crazy, because I always knew it happened, but I was talking to my sister the other day about, I was like, oh, I've been seeing a lot of Nike Jordans, and because I've been searching them up. And then
so
I'm
they're
like,
coming
wow,
in your
that's
ads.
crazy. Yeah.
So a lot of it, you know, the data that these companies, you know, Meta, Facebook, you know, like the ads that you see is controlled by the data that they're gathering off you. And, you know, I've listened to some kōrero, and you know, they've got a huge huge pile of information about each person throughout our history. And, you know, like, and they're selling it. Like, we're the product in Web2, eh? So people
Pretty
think,
much.
oh, we're getting this free product called Facebook or free product called Instagram, but actually we're the product.
Pretty
and they're
much.
selling us to advertisers, to companies, eh?
Yeah.
So when you look into that, when you looked into the analytics and stuff, and went, oh shit, this is pretty full on. Like, what came up for you next?
I was kind of like, oh, is there something? I actually found out about like the whole crypto space at the same time I was studying. So it was kind of like actively thinking during that time and thinking, oh my God, this is weird, because this whole crypto stuff is, you know, a good thing compared to what I'm bloody studying. And it was good to kind of compare it that way. But yeah, that's just one thing with the data. And then, like, for me, how I consider NFTs, you know, it's basically like individual tokens with like valuable information in it. And, you know, it could be art or virtual land, and so forth, like media, and how people portray like NFTs and stuff like that. So I like that, because, you know, you can verify that you own it. You can, you're validating your ownership. And what I see with like Web2 is that, like, you don't get that. it's still owned by bloody, I don't know, Google or Facebook.
Even our content, the images that we upload, those sorts of things, legally still owned by whoever's. So that's a big thing. So as we shift, so Web3 is still pretty new, but as we shift, it's important for us to be aware and kind of understand how this works, how Web3 works versus Web2.
I think that's how, like, for me, that's how I kind of consider the space. That's like my most top, like, why I got into it. But like also with crypto, like it's more of a investing in the future technology. And that's kind of why I invest in crypto. But so many people invest for different reasons, like passive income or, diversify their portfolio and so forth. But my main reason is, to invest in future technology and infrastructure. So
and what do you mean by that? So when you're investing, you're putting your money into, say, ETH or Bitcoin or things like that. How is your money investing in this future infrastructure?
So like some projects, for example, like, I don't know, Cardano or Near, that are doing like eco-friendly type crypto, and they have future plans for how they would like it to be in this new financial system. And like being a part of that, I kind of feel I don't know what the word is, but I just feel like I'm a part of that future. And
well, if you're investing in it, you're supporting it, kind of like with our Māori businesses here in Aotearoa. If we're buying from Māori businesses, we're supporting those Māori businesses because then they've got more capital to put into development or things like that. So that's one of your main motivators, That's one of your main whys.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, so what's your why around why did you start Haycrypto? Like, why is it important for our whānau to know about this stuff?
I think, like, obviously when I mentioned like with my passion in education and tech, that just helped me get to it. But then we have to look at, the barriers of technology itself. Do we even have access to the internet? Like, resources, education. And that's something that I see the barriers with our people. And it's kind of just being able to make this Haycrypto accessible and like just easy to learn in the space without getting put off it, because people are easily put off just reading a book or technology, no Wi-Fi.
And I think it's cool because it's like bite-sized pieces of information each day or each couple of days. The other nice thing, and it's kind of like part of my intention around Blockchain Navigators and the Discord, that we set up, was that these channels are not promoting any one particular product. It's not an advertising channel. This is like literally come here to learn. It's a neutral space where we can all come in and have a kōrero. So that's another thing that I noticed with yours, is that you really support other kaupapa as they come. You see that I see them in your stories and things like that. But your space is a kind of a neutral, open space where you're focusing on the education. How do you decide what you're going to put out? Like, you put out a lot of content, and it's really good content. At Te Whānau, if you haven't already followed Haycrypto on Instagram, you should go and do it right now. But how do you decide?
Because I work in the space, I'm always picking up new things that I have with customers, people at work, that I'm like, oh yeah, true. But I actually don't create content until someone, like a follower, comes to me and then they just say they come with me with a question, and I actually have a Google Doc sheet that kind of pinpoints areas that people are asking, and I'll be like, I'll try create something like this soon, and then I kind of find out if there's a need for it, that I'll put it out. But if it's something I can quickly just message them in a DM, I'll go hard with that. But if it's a frequent,
if it's a common question, then a lot of people are asking about it or are thinking about it, That's a cool way to do it. So then our whānau know that if they have a question, definitely they should hit you up,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
because there's so much to talk about. There's so much areas, so I can't choose.
Yeah, it's huge, so there's Web3, there's blockchain, there's crypto, they're all kind of overlapping parts of each other. what's your kind of number one go-to, or like, you know, where are you spending most of your effort and your energy?
Right now, I'm filtering a lot of my energy into like the NFT space and how I can kind of make use of it. But like I've always had like filtered my energy into like investments with my crypto, dollar cost averaging DCA. And
Can you just explain that just now, DCA?
Yeah, so it's when you buy crypto over like short periods of money. I mean, like short amount of money over a long period of time. So it evens out the average of it as a whole. So like if you've got like, you know, $10,000 you just dump in at the time, it can go up and down. But if you space it out within that period, you're kind of getting a good average cost. Like, so
because it could drop down, you know, next week, and then you can get your next $100 or, you know, a couple $100 or whatever, rather than what I did because the timing of when I got on crypto, it was right up the top. So, you know, a lot of my stuff is in the red at the moment. But again, then it's also, you know, those other principles, like this is not financial advice, but only invest what you can afford to lose. You know, like I still got power, still got food. Me and my whānau still got a home, you know, so we're not over investing. To like really do your own research. So don't just jump in because someone else said. You know, have a look around. Those are like really important principles to kind of follow, and they'll kind of keep the whānau safe, eh?
Yeah, definitely. And there's so much anxiety around that because, you know, the crypto space is so volatile. So, you know, it's just, you know, going crazy.
And you know, when we're talking about do your own research, you know, there's a few spaces, few places that I kind of point people to start, to begin, like, yeah, your page, Hidden Figures, whānau Futures, like definitely point people to those things as a starting place with really good, and it's kind of grounded, and I trust the people behind it, you know, like whakapono anō kia koutou. And then it's like, oh, well, if you want a little bit of a deeper dive, come into our Wānanga, and we can deep dive into different things. But like, where else, how do you do your own research? You know, when you're doing your own research, what do you do?
For me, like, it just really depends. Like, if I'm kind of like, oh, this, because I see new coins come out all the bloody time, every day.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah. So I kind of go through like a whole process for it. And I think like over time, I've gotten to that point where it might be too much for people, but I think starting from the basics, really, like what is the project and what is involved in it, and like, you know, NFT projects specifically, because I like a hot topic, like doing your rangaho on that and breaking it down, like, is it legit, like, you know, the links, social media.
Yeah, the main questions that I ask when I'm looking at a kaupapa is like, who's behind it and who benefits, and especially around, you know, stuff, you know, using Māori art and things like that. Okay, who's making it, who's behind it, and who benefits. So you can look on roadmaps and see, you know, what their plans are for people, but looking at who's actually behind a project. Are they doxed? Are they not? You know, is the community strong around them? Because there's always a level of risk. But I think if you're looking at, you know, who's behind it. And I remember listening to a Gary V interview, you know, when he was asked about, you know, what kind of influences him, you know, whether he's buying into an NFT project or whatever, or any project, businesses that he invests in, things like that, he's always looking at the founder. He's always looking at, you know, ko wainga kaiarahi, ko wainga rangatira. Do they have mana? Do they have integrity? And do, you know, have they done stuff before? You know, are they actually able to deliver on their plan? And that's what I love about like the Eager Beavers. You know, the boys are in the music industry, so when they're promising music stuff, they're delivering on it, you know, and and you know that your investment is kind of safe and is in a good place, whereas some others are like, we're going to take you to the moon, we'll give you 4 Lambos. And it's like, oh, will you?
Yeah.
What are some other kind of markers that you look at?
I usually, because when I look at it, like roadmaps is just a form of marketing.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the
it's
pitch.
never guaranteed. Yeah. You don't know if it's going to follow through or not. And so, like, what you're saying, like the founder, and even people that, like, have these projects, they use fake people, like fake
Yeah.
profiles. So if you don't really go in depth and like go on
Really
LinkedIn
look.
or Google them, you'll find everything you need to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, those
Or
are
if you
usually the
don't,
steps.
then you should think seriously about it, eh?
Yeah, definitely. And like, especially with tokens as well, like, the tokenomics, there might be a bit of a thing to explain, but that's what I kind of look into as well, like the supply and
Actually, can
what's
you explain
distributed.
tokenomics? We haven't had anyone
Oh,
explain tokenomics yet, so I'd love to hear your take.
oh gosh, I don't know, I'm a bit blank on it. But it's, so like the tokenomics is basically like of a project of, how the funds are distributed. So if
Yeah.
you go into like a white paper, I always look at the tokenomics of it. So like, okay,
Yeah.
how much is in the supply? How much are the investors getting? How much are they putting away for, I don't know if they're doing staking rewards.
Yeah.
So there was one I looked at the other day. I think it was Axie, I think, or another one, Love Potion or something, and how they've broken up the tokenomics. So I look at that and then think, and then there'll be some where it's like 60% go to the creators, and you're kind of like, like that doesn't sound right.
Mm.
And so it kind of just gives you a visual idea of where the funds are distributed within a project.
Yeah. How much goes back to the founders? Like if the tokenomics is like 99% goes back to the founders, then you're like, there's not going to be much
You
left
know
for
about
the
that one,
community
yeah.
afterwards, like that, those sorts of
Mm,
things. Or if, yeah. So looking at the distribution, so if everyone buys in, where does that putea go?
cool.
And some of them are more community based, some of them are more just like you buy it and the founders get it or whatever. It really depends what they're trying to do, eh?
Yeah. And I love seeing that in NFT projects as well, like just a general idea of where funds will go.
Yeah.
So that's that with that.
Yeah. And I've just seen some messages from Natasha Sadler e kororana moetahi o ngā mea e ahua rite ana ki te scam. Like, if it feels scammy, it probably is. So if people are sending
Pretty
you
much.
messages, this is a big safety thing, eh? Because now
Mm,
all the scammers are in the space, so they'll hit you up and they'll say, "Oh, we're from Bitcoin. You've actually won 10,000 Bitcoin. We just need your wallet address and your 21 word key, and then we'll
mm.
deposit that." Those sorts of things, and people are getting sucked in. What are some safety things that what are some basic safety principles that you kind of promote or talk about or live by?
I think the main thing to remember is that any provider that you use, like Exodus or MetaMask, blockchain or anything, they will never ask for your seed phrase and they will
Yeah.
never ask for your keys.
Yeah. So can we just
So,
explain that, just in case there's any new whānau? What is a seed phrase? What is your your key?
so they're basically, a couple of words that kind of act like your password. That's in simple terms.
Yeah, it's usually like 12 or 24 words
Mm,
that when you open your MetaMask, which is your hot wallet, or if you've got like a Ledger or a Trezor, which are cold wallets, that 24 words or 12 words, that's your seed phrase or your key phrase.
mm.
You need to hide those, really hide them, and never, ever, ever give them out. Like no company, like Hayes has just said, no company will ever ask you for them. A legit company will never ask you for them. Most of the times, legit companies won't ever DM you. They won't ever send you a direct message asking for any information. So even if it's got the right picture on it or the right name, if they're sending you a message asking you for something, then definitely it's a scam. What are some
Yeah,
other kind of basic principles? So never give out your seed phrase, number one.
yeah. And always check, like, what you're mentioning with emails, check the email address and see if, there'll be like one letter off and then, yeah, there it is. Leave it
Yeah,
alone, like it's spam.
yeah.
And I think
And
a
so
lot of,
when you're checking the email address, quite often it'll come up and it'll have the name of the person, and anyone can make up any name and put that on the email. So what you want to do is you want to click on that name, and then you'll see the actual email address behind it. And if it's not the legit email address, well, ara, you found another scammer.
Yeah. So that's one. But yeah, there's a lot, like, if it's too good to be true, don't go there. But if you think it might be, then, do your rangaho. Don't just jump in it. But yeah, I think majority, like what I live by is just security. Because a lot of people, they jump into the space and it's so overwhelming that they forget the basic security needs for it. And it's shocking to see like people get involved in like scams or they're being hacked because they've just forgot to do the basic security needs. So
yeah, that's hard. It's really hard seeing when our whānau have been scammed, or like, so my Instagram got hacked, and when it got hacked, it was sending people messages saying, "Hey, I've just made $10,000 on this app," or something like that. Send me $5,000 and I'll invest it for you, and then then you'll get the $10,000. That sort of stuff, man. And it would make sense to people because I've already been talking about crypto stuff. It made sense to them. But yeah, man, like, what are some of the other scams or some of the other things that you've heard of?
I think a lot of it is more like trading platforms. So it'll be like, they'll guarantee you like 100x your money or big gains and stuff within a short amount of time. And I see it every day in my job as well because I deal with that kind of stuff, and people seem to believe it because they let you withdraw it and you're just like, oh yeah, cool, it's working.
At the start,
and you keep feeding into it, and once you've racked up a couple of Ks, then they just cut you off, and it's like, holy.
So that's one. It was you were posting about it recently? Like, you actually broke it down, eh? Can you actually talk us through that? Because there's a few names of a few kind of kaupapa that people use, something FX or Can you talk us through that? Because that is a thing that I've actually heard of, people I know getting sucked into that and thinking, oh yeah, we're on a good thing. Yeah. Just those kinds of things. You don't have to name names, but like, what's the kind of process that happens?
I think, so when I got into this, I thought, you know what, I'm going to participate in some scams and whatnot and put my, profits into it. But then after I did this experiment, I was like, oh, hell no, like, I just lost bloody $300. I'm just going to do another way to do it. But I went through the whole experience thing and, just played it out as if, anyone else would for this trading platform. And I didn't get my second withdrawal. I got the first one, so I thought, oh yeah, it must be legit. Like, see how it goes. And so along the way, I was just like writing like the reviews or like the outcomes and kind of getting the receipts together to really write about it. And then try to do this. I think I've been waiting since November last year for my bloody last payout. So I was like,
payout.
It's the stitch up.
So that's one of the big ones, eh? And what about are there some other scams? Like, one of the ones that I have heard of is that if you find, say, in your MetaMask, on your OpenSea, if you find people have just randomly airdropped you NFTs, if you don't know the person, and you don't if you don't know the person and they've just randomly airdropped, it's best not to interact with those, eh? Like, not to do anything about them.
I think I came across that a couple months ago, and I was like, why do I have these random like NFTs in it wasn't in my main account, but it was like in my hidden account.
Yeah, in your hidden.
And I was just like, oh, I'm not going to touch that, eh? Like, I just don't know what will happen if, I click into it.
I think some of those, there's some clever people that are doing these scams, and some of those are, if you interact with it, that's how they actually get into your wallet, eh? Like, that actually gives them access into your wallet.
it's scary how people can do that, and they're getting smarter by the bloody day. But and that just means we got to keep on our game as well.
Yeah. And when you say keep on your game, like what does that mean for you?
I think, like for me, it's kind of like, okay, like if I see something odd, I know it's odd. I won't be like, oh, what's this, and click into it, and then it's just having that awareness.
Like don't give it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so there's those safety things that we're talking about. Like if you're in Discords, if you guys are in Discords, and Discords is like a app where people can, message and talk about different projects and stuff. If you're in a Discord, don't click on turn off your DMs, so that people can't direct message you, because quite often that's another scam. Is say you're in a apes Discord, and then someone with an apes picture looks official, apes official, sends you a message saying we're minting early. The mint's in like 3 days, but we're minting early and you get an access code. Just go in here and connect your wallet. Like that's a really, really common one. Like before I turned off my DMs and Discord, it was just full of it. What are some other ways that people can kind of safely move in this space?
I think like I mentioned, like awareness that's one. But another one is also like, what are you doing in this space, and then working back from that. So like if I'm like, I'm going to start flipping NFTs and do this, then it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about, trading and stuff. I just have to worry about, Discord safety. Do I have a backup? Do I got a cold wallet to connect to my MetaMask and stuff like that? And then, if someone wants to be a trader, then that's a whole different story. So, I think
so. Then they're looking at different things around security. They're looking at, or like say if you're doing NFTs and you're doing some degenning, then you'll have your burner wallet. So that's not your main wallet that's holding all your NFTs, but you have another wallet that's only got enough ETH to buy the stuff and have the gas. But if anything goes wrong, well, it's just what's in that wallet gets lost, sort of thing. So that's like thinking about what are you doing, and then what are the safety things you need to put in place. So with crypto, because like that's where your main focus is, or where your background is. What are some specific things that, say, if I was getting into investing in crypto, I'm looking at a few coins, I'm looking at what are their plans, like that sort of stuff. How can I safely kind of explore that space?
Like getting into it, like I'll try to explain it from like a step-by-step thing, but after you've done like your rangahau, you're kind of like, I want to put some money into this. So then from that standpoint, you'll have to think, where am I going to buy this from? Like, am I going to leave it in an exchange?
Yeah.
Or am I going to move it
to... exchanges are like, for example, in exchanges...
like Binance, pretty much just a place where you can buy your crypto from.
That sort of stuff?
Crypto.com, yeah.
What are some other
ones?
KuCoin. Just so KuCoin. Just so people can kind of go, this is an exchange. So when you buy your stuff on an exchange, it's still sitting, it's like buying and sitting in someone else's bank account, and you've just got a connection to it. Versus if you buy it and then you put it into your MetaMask, which is your hot wallet, or your cold wallet, which is your ledger and stuff like that, then it's a lot safer, if you're pulling it out. What's that saying? Not your keys, not your crypto. So if it's not in your hot wallet, then
pretty much, but like it really depends on that person. Like, do you want to keep it into like DeFi apps like Nexo, or do you want to get the staking rewards on Binance and keep your funds there? Like it's really up to how you want to plan it out.
It's kind of educated risk, Like there is a risk with your money on exchanges, and actually right now some of the exchanges, some of the places like Celsius are failing, or locked up, and I've got some puuuumping that was locked up in Celsius, or that is locked up in Celsius. We trusted them, to look after our putea. It was like a bank. We trusted them to look after our putea and then to be able to stake and gain yield, like gain off them
Yeah.
holding our putea. But now we're in a position that they've locked everything down. They're not giving us our coins back, and we're like, oh, what do we do
Yeah.
now? So it's that whole thing,
Yeah.
eh?
Yeah. And it's a lot and like that also goes back to like, are you going to stress about it? Like if they're going to hold your crypto for like, they've just made a stop on what's going in and out. Does it kind of meet your goals? Like if it's a long term, you don't have to worry about it. But if it's like, oh shit, I needed that for something, yeah.
Yeah,
no
so
answer
I'm
to
all
that.
right now. Like it's hoha, but I'm all right now that I don't need that putea. Like I'd invested it and called it long-term investment. I've called it long-term investment for now, and hoping it comes back. But what if, like Luna, like Terra, what if it crashes and it's gone completely? Then all your putea that was in there is gone completely. So it's that whole question, eh? Yeah. I've just seen a comment from Dallas, kia ora Dallas, that some of the kuia at home have been targeted by scammers who message them in Te Reo Māori via social medias, and because the scammers have a high level of fluency, they trusted them straight away. I haven't experienced that in this platform, but I have actually heard of a couple of mates who were messaged in Te Reo Māori, but it was Google Translate Te Reo Māori. So anyone that's actually fluent could see it, but I think also because social media and things like that are harder for our kaumātua and kuia, I think even that you just think, oh, someone's messaging me in Te Reo Māori, oh, kia ora, kia ora. Like have you come across that at all?
No, I haven't. No, but yeah, crazy.
Yeah, something really, and I think it's an important thing for us, educate ourselves, each other, educate our tamariki, but also educate our kaumātua and kuia who are engaging in these spaces, who are seeing these messages and, I could make some putea for my mokopuna, that sort of thing. Yeah, man, we just got to be careful though, eh?
Yeah. And there's so like a lot of things as well, like our vulnerable elderlies and stuff getting in, or like having their identity taken and their bank stuff taken. I see that a lot at Mahi, and you just never know.
Yeah. And how do people get into that? Like how does that happen? The
I have
identity.
no idea. I have a feeling it's probably through clicking on links or downloading apps like AnyDesk, which basically gives scammers access to your.
It means they can access your computer, then they can change your passwords and kick you out, that sort of thing. Yeah. I think so like that's something for us to really think about. And I think we've talked a bit about that, the kind of risks of this area. And it is something important for us to be careful of. And I've seen heaps of your content is around safety, is around, how to navigate that. So we'll park the safety kōrero there and then look into the opportunity kōrero. Like, what are the opportunities you see, for our people in this space?
I see a lot. Like, we're already seeing like our talented like artists coming on board with this NFT space, and more content driven people like Blockchain Māori and Pat, and it's awesome to see that kind of educational space for our people, where it's like a collective thing basically, and that's what I love about being Māori.
That's our driver. It's a collective thing. We're not out just for I want to be rich. I want us to be rich. I want us to thrive. I want us to, it's that sort of thing. So it is cool. And the block party, like, what was that like for you? For me, man, it was cool just seeing everyone for the first time in person.
It was cool. Like, it was just a different vibe. And like, I love that. and it was really engaging, and I just loved like hearing people talk about it, and just people that are interested in the space to just rock up, and you can just feel it. You can feel that energy,
Yeah.
and that's what I
And
love. Yeah.
for people that don't know, that weren't there or didn't hear about it, what was Block Party?
Pardon?
What was the Block Party for people who weren't there or didn't know?
So it's pretty much, a kaupapa driven event, I guess, with, talking about blockchain, crypto, NFTs, but just all of us coming as a collective together to share, our knowledge.
And I was buzzing out how many Māori. Like it was the room was basically full of Māori, eh?
Yeah. I didn't
Māori
stay
and,
too.
Pacifica as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I didn't stay too long because I had my little sister with me. But
Yeah.
the second we got back to the hotel, I was on the live stream and just watching it. It was just so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool seeing how many of our people were in that space and seeing how many of them were like keen to take the step and actually get some education around it, to really learn about the space so that we can explore it and, kind of get some good benefits from it. It's pretty cool. And some of the questions coming out are like, who was one of your favorite kai kōrero?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
So many.
I, me? No.
Yeah, other than you.
No, I really loved Cal's corridor, being beside her and listening to, what she had to say, about PTM, our relationship, being Māori, and, that wealth aspect. And yeah, I was in awe, even though she was, right beside me, but I was like, holy.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I was like, that was so good. Like,
E toki,
holy.
e toki. Yeah, nah, beautiful. And that whakaroe, and going back to these values that we're just talking about, is wealth is more than just what's in your bank account. Wealth
Exactly.
for us is that richness in our reo, that richness in our culture, that richness in our whānau, that richness in kai, that richness in experience, all of those sorts of things. And so how can we, and that's what I'm interested in with this blockchain space, is how can we make it more than just, I just want to make heaps of money and go to the moon. Like, how do we enrich the space with our culture so that, when we're interacting in the metaverse, we're interacting in a Māori way? Like, what are you excited about for the metaverse, for,
I'm pretty excited, eh? Like, I it'll be interesting to see, how it'll play out, because there's no rules in it. But I don't want us to lose our values in the space. So it's more of how can we move in that space as we already are, and kind of navigate in that space as we are, nothing to be tampered with, kind of thing. But I'm excited. Like, there's so much you can do, could do. Like, you just
Yeah. How can we move in that space? Like, can you expand on that?
Like, okay, for me, I like, you see the metaverse space and stuff. Like, how cool would it be to have, like, Wānangas and in that space, and coming together in that space. Like, I know we like to come together physically, but it might not be possible sometime in some instance, like, with COVID or lockdowns and whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just finding new ways to just, utilize the tool, not become it, but just utilize it for our own, benefits. And
like, we use the tool doesn't use us.
exactly. Yeah.
But that thing of, like, online wānanga, we already have, people are already starting to move in the metaverse. Like, we're already on social media all the time. Zoom, like what COVID did to Zoom, like, Zoom became our primary way of talking to each other. Look at us now. We're having this wānanga now over over the internet. And like, what's going to happen, when we're in the metaverse, that actually I'll invite you into my room, and in my room is hanging up my kete mātauranga NFT or my dragon NFT, or like things like that, that express who we are. My avatar may look like me, and or it might not. I might look like Tāne Mahuta or something like that, and you might look like Hinemoana, or but we can get in that space, and again, like, how do we use our cultural values, our tikanga as well, keep us safe in those spaces, so that you know, when we're having a wānanga, we can know who we're talking to. Yeah, it's pretty exciting,
Yeah.
Because man, you can see wānanga happening in a metaverse room soon. It's not even that far away.
Exactly, just around the corner.
Yeah. What most excites you? Like, what are you most excited about? Because I know you've got your eyes on a whole lot of different things. You're more connected than others say. What are some things that you've seen that you're like, wow, that's amazing, and you know, and we can really engage with that?
I think there's so much. I'm trying to think of one, not five. But yeah, I think what mainly excites me the most is, I don't know, how our, rangatahi can navigate in this space. That's kind of what excites me. Even though, like, we do see it in, how they interact with like Roblox and the internet and on their bloody tablets. And like just seeing that excites me, because I'm like, oh my God, they're just like, they're
They're building their little worlds.
Yeah, they're already, yeah. My niece was bloody showing me this house building thing. She's setting it up, drag drop, and I'm like, wow, I can see her, like, even just kids in the space building, and so that's what me personally, what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Most
And
in this space.
And I guess that really feeds into this education aspect of what you're doing, because and like me and like conversations that we've had, we know our tamariki are going to be in the space. There's no question about it. So what can we do? Like, what's the most that we can do to make sure that, when they roll in there, they're all good?
They're sorted.
Yeah. So talk to us about your little sister. Like, you've mentioned little things to me that she's actually, into the space, and she's quite onto it.
Yeah, she, like, the other month ago, I got her to set up, like, a MetaMask, and she was so onto it. Like, I was thinking, like, screenshots so I know what you're doing it quickly. And she's like, I know what I'm doing. Like, she just knew. And I only had to tell her once. But every like Christmas and birthday, I buy her crypto, and just, I don't like go full on to her about it. I just, just say, oh, this is how it works. I think I downloaded Coin Market Cap on her phone just so she can see how it looks. Yeah. And there was one time too, I think it was during Christmas, and she messaged, I'm down $3. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, yeah.
Oh shit, it's gonna be lower than that now, eh?
Yeah. So it's awesome to like see her understand it in a way that, like, I probably don't see it from her perspective, but just engaging with it as well. And my brother as well, he's around 20 years old, he's into the space, and he's been creating, like, I had no idea, like, I've always talked to him about it, but he's like, I was making skins and avatars from Sandbox, and I'm like, what? Like, you never told me about this, and I only found out the other bloody week.
And he's in the game, eh?
He's in the game, so that amazed me, and that makes me happy. And I think it's because I don't put it onto my siblings, like onto my whānau. I just express my passion for it and hope that they might, dabble in it.
And if they're interested in it, then they're interested in it. And if they're not, you're not gonna kind of force them into it, eh? Yeah. No, that's awesome. So like thinking about that, and that's a big driver of why you do this this education stuff. I also know there's an NFT project probably cooking at the moment. You want to have a yarn about that?
I don't know how much I can say about it, but yes,
just a little bit alpha,
just a little bit. So I'm trying. Well, I am creating and ready to launch a NFT project, and it is based around rangatahi and whānau, and the educational space. But what we could see in it is trying to explain it without giving off too much.
Without giving it away, eh?
Yeah. That's right. What we can see is like physical resources. So think books, interactive games, everything that a kid does in a learning environment, but translated into digital assets. And so, that's something I've been building and something I'm hoping will be ready next month in a few months now. But I'm
Cool.
excited. Yeah. And it's funny though, because you'll read, let's say, a book to your kids, and you'll learn as you go as well, these types of terms and stuff that might be the topics in it. But I think my sister was reading it and she was like, oh, is this what it means? Oh, and it was just so like in probably 5 words. And so it's just a fun project that I'm really excited for, to get out. And
that's awesome. And that goes back to this question from Shalise that we saw earlier. Her boy is 16 years old and really interested in learning more. Where could they look for more information that's relevant for his age? And this is probably, it's this sort of thing, eh?
So this, I guess this project will filter within that age. Like, it's going to range from age 0 to 15 plus.
Hey, we're all going to learn from it.
But we're all going to learn.
Let's face it,
so
we're all going to learn.
There's no age. But even like just thinking of resources for like, what's there available now for a 16-year-old, I guess YouTube, because I know a lot of the youngins, it's hard to just, read something. They like to hear things.
And actually a lot of kids already watch a lot of YouTube, that's where they're learning a lot of stuff. But like, so one of the things, like, if you're wanting to get in on these rauemi, definitely just start following Haycrypto now, and obviously Tuahine, when you're ready, you'll launch, and we'll all be there to tautoko, to be able to get that information out there so that people can access it. But I think that's a cool thing to start looking at our kids. And like, I've got some mates who are teachers and wharekura and things like that, and actually having conversations with them about maybe you guys could look into teaching the kids coding, how to code, or how to actually, so that we're the builders, not the tenants, like like there's been conversations that our wahine have been talking about in different conversations. It's like, be the landlord, not the tenant. Or like Kay Marie, she was talking about own the train tracks, not the train. So the tracks, so Ethereum is the track that all of these other coins and all these NFTs are, cars on, so that if we invest in the infrastructure, and if we build infrastructure and that sort of thing, then we'll be better off in the long term. So like teaching our kids those sorts of things. And I guess what I see with you and your tuahine is, you're normalizing it. You're making it normal to talk about this stuff, or to ask questions about this stuff. Like, what are the kind of questions that she asks you?
My sister? Just like, what is that? Like, what is Bitcoin? Or I was talking to her about a NFT project with Mushroom Mob NFTs, because it's a really awesome well-being New Zealand-based project. And I showed her, I was like, look at my mushroom, it's so cute. And she was like, what is it? What does it do? And I was
thinking, did you buy a mushroom?
She's like, I thought, but no, she was kind of like asking, like, what do you do? Like, how do you do it? And I was like, do you want one? And then she's like, how do I get one? So I kind of be like, you need a wallet, so then you can do this. And it's just breaking it down and only answering when a question is raised, and not going overboard and,
because it's easy to just go bob, 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 bob. But that's tuahine. That's something that I see that you do in your content. Like you're talking about how you come up with your content for your Instagram, and I can hear that similar value in how you whāngai your tēnā, with that information. Where'd you learn that kind of that whakaaro around teaching?
I don't even know. I think it just came about. Like, it just, well, because for me, I need, like, for me, I have to dumb things down for me and have it simple, or else I won't understand it. So, like, even when I'm going through stuff and I'm like, oh, that's a lot, I'll copy paste, cut it in, like, put it in my own words,
Yeah.
and then I understand it. So
Yeah.
I think it just filters from my own learning.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool way of doing it, because then you're responding to the need that's out there. If people are needing to, learn about this, then they'll ask those questions. So I think, at Te Whānau, that's a big thing for us. If we have those needs, if we have those questions, then it's important to reach out to, to those people like Haycrypto, like Hidden Figures, like Blockchain Māori, Girls Who NFT, Pat and the Manaki crew, like Eager Beavers. Reach out and kind of ask those questions, or if you're in the Discords, ask those questions. And, like, chances are someone else is thinking the same thing as you. A lot of our Discords now, the ones that I'm in, we're seeing areas where there's frequently asked questions, or like basic things like how to set up a MetaMask, how to set up a ledger, or things like that. So some of those things, have a little look around first, see if you can find the answer to your question, and then if you don't, patai atu, or if you send out the patai, they might direct you to those rauemi anyway in the Discords. So, Tuhine, where are some places that people can go? Like, if someone came to you right now and said, "Hey, I wanna dive into it." So we've talked about YouTube, but are there any specific people? We've talked about, we've talked about our mates, Hidden Figures and stuff. But like, where are some places that you would comfortably go, yep, go and have a look there, and you'll learn some good stuff?
I think, like, finding educational stuff in this space, like, it's scattered everywhere, and there's no, like, one source of truth. So it's kind of like, for me, I just not Google it, YouTube, like, what is blah blah blah, and then I'll just look through the videos and I'll have a watch of that. No, next one, until I find something. So I guess it's kind of taking up time, but that's just how I
just
do it.
Putting in the time means it's doing the research, though. It's looking around, and kind of one of the big things, I guess, with any research is kind of cross-referencing, So if you hear someone say something and then you hear someone else from a completely different place, say the same thing, then you're like, oh yeah, that could kind of ring true. Yeah. What are things that you yourself are curious about right now? Like, what are you looking into right now? What are you trying to learn right now?
That's actually a good question, because so probably a couple months ago, before I thought of this NFT project I'm working on, I've completely stopped all learnings. But on my, not completely, but, I want to get into nodes.
What is a node? Tell us what a node is.
I still don't even know my bloody self. No. It's pretty much like, you're investing in a node to help validate the transactions on a blockchain.
Marama. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I've been looking into some nodes, like pre-search and whatnot, but I haven't got that deep into it, because I came across this NFT project that I'm like, oh, stop the truck. Like, I can't.
This is where you're putting your focus at the moment, eh?
Yeah, exactly. But there's so much, like, I do want to dive deep into, more DeFi and farming in particular. It's easy knowing what it's about, but it's different when you're doing it yourself, because So that's something I really want to get into. And then there's DAOs, and I've been seeing, Manaki and Pat get onto that with friends and family, and I'm like, holy, that's a new world for me. I can't even, like, I don't have the capacity. And I think that's important too, like, coming into the space is knowing your capacity, because if you're doing too much at once, you're not going to do it at all. So the
overwhelm is real.
Yeah.
And actually, like, for me, like, say these blockchain navigators, I was trying to do one every week, and then it was like every 2 weeks, and then actually too busy in real life and my job as a photographer, and actually not being able to put the time in to organize these, or you and I've been trying to line up for a long time now, and both of our real lives are like, so I think it's realizing that and going, okay, I can put this much time into it. Like, some of us can't do the Discord grinds, like, I literally can't do a Discord grind, can't spend 5 hours a day in a Discord just because of what my job is and the type of mahi that I do. I'm spending going till midnight at a Wānanga and then waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, that sort of thing. So I think that's an important point you've raised about knowing your capacity. How do you look after yourself, your haura in this space?
I think for me, like, because I'm long term, I don't do flipping or trading. I'm very behind the scenes, low stress. Obviously I know the risks, but it's just enough for me to handle. And then I go to mahi and it's crypto.
Yeah.
And then it's so I think I'd say 95% of my life is just surrounded around crypto, but I'm trying really hard to, balance that out. And I've just moved back home, so I've been spending more time with my whānau and
Cool.
just doing something as little as picking the kids up from school, or going and visit my niece, or picking her up from kindy. And it makes a huge difference because when I was on my own, I was just crypto 110%. That there was no room to breathe. So yeah.
No, that's a harder thing, and spending that time outside as well. Go out, look at the sun, feel the rain, feel the wind, those sorts of things. Hoki ki o maunga. Those are really important. Ways that we can just kind of keep ourselves grounded, because man, we've seen those movies, Ready Player One, even the Wall-E, and what happens to the humans there. So it's like those things aren't too far from the truth if
that's what I'm mostly worried about. Seeing everyone just rocking up to the cousin's house or something. They got bloody VR sets on. That would be my worst nightmare. Just having that as a
they're not talking to each other.
It's
we already do that. Walk into a room and everyone's like this
on their phone. Yeah, exactly. So what's next, eh? What's next?
And so how do we kind of ensure that we don't get sucked into the Wall-E world? What do you reckon?
It's a big what do you even do? I think it actually starts with parents, really, setting those boundaries in place for your kids. And that's something I'm making really strong within my NFT project as well, well-being, and all that kind of stuff. And it's hard because even if you take a bloody iPad off a kid, they start screaming. So it's challenging, I'd say. But I think having those things in place might help along the way. But I wouldn't know, even if I guess, you just see how it goes, I guess. But I think it is down to the parents itself. And normalizing that, going for walks, normalizing going out, visiting whānau, break time, screen time.
Haura time, eh? I like this word normalizing. I think there's some kind of big shifts that that we're making, and one of them that I see across your kaupapa, across Hidden Figures, whānau Futures, and all of our mates that are talking about it, we're starting to talk about money. Conversations that generally weren't had around a Māori whānau dinner table, generally speaking. We're actually starting to become more comfortable and confident to talk about money. Why is that, you reckon, and why is that important?
I think it's coming more, out there because it's becoming more accessible. And before then,
what's more accessible, the money or the education around
the education and resources like content and stuff that we see. And I think the whole talk of money itself, it's just just goes downhill. And it's not something, people get whakamānawa about it. No one wants to know, but they will want $20 for a box or something, but not to talk about, investments or savings. So,
or it's like that. Oh, you think you're good? Oh, you're too cool. If you're investing your money, But I think, like, how do we shift those kind of stereotypes, those whakaaro around it?
Oh, I don't even know how to shift that. Like, I think it's just being, like, I guess, open, because I think everyone in this space, or like, even us as Māori, we all have to talk about it for it to be normalized. It's not like it's just a flick of a switch and then, it's normalized. We have to have more of us keep, like, speak up, speak of our experience. It's not always, rainbows and cherries. There's always downsides to stuff, and that's what we relate to and we understand. And that's just my take on it.
Hard out. And like Tangoro was saying, decol money for sure. Like, and the other comment about it's our self-worth. So I think if we feel like, a little bit more confident in ourselves, then we can be talking about that stuff, but also decolonizing our relationship to putea, to wealth, those sorts of things. So I think it's a big thing, but it's actually been cool seeing our people starting to ask those questions, seeing our people starting to learn these things and move in a different way.
Yeah, definitely. And even like just seeing something as simple like what Hidden Figures are doing with Afterpay stuff, and seeing,
Gold, what are they doing?
just,
Like, explain it for people who don't know, what are they doing?
They're basically like encouraging and sending out, awesome content of, I guess, consumer debt and how that works, and encouraging our people to get off that. And they kind of break it down in such a way that we can relate to that.
It makes
Seeing
sense
the
to us,
numbers. So I was like,
Holy.
holy,
and now they've got something like over 1,000 people that have messaged them and said, I've got off, or sent them a screenshot, I've deleted Afterpay. So that's making some solid impact, with our whānau across the motu who are getting off that sort of consumer debt, those Afterpay sort of things. It's pretty out there,
It is, and it's not like a big thing to, like, it is a big thing to do, but it's something as small as that to influence our people that I'm just like, holy, that's amazing. And like, how can we take that to the next level with the crypto space now? But we can't do that until we backtrack to our relationship with putea
and with ourselves,
and ourselves.
So what are some things that, like, I guess when I think about my upbringing, I think about what are things that may have been that made it easier for me to think about putea, like having a job early on. I had to save up, so I didn't get certain things bought for me. I had to work and save up in order to get the things, as that delayed gratification sort of thing. So that's something in my upbringing that I had to work. If I wanted the Game Boy, I had to do jobs for a long time to save up to get the Game Boy. And by the time I got the Game Boy, it was after everyone else said it wasn't cool anymore. But what are the things in your life that kind of lead you into the space to be able to talk about this, to be able to,
I
move
think,
in the space?
like, for me, like my upbringing with, putea and stuff, it was kind of like, I had to work hard. I think I started working at like 13 years old, and I was a dishy. And I've always just worked and my dad was so strong on work ethics. And so that's kind of why I've just always working. Throughout uni, I was working. During summer, I was doing internships. Like, it was just like work. And if I wasn't working, I'd be miserable because I felt a need to work. So that's the work ethics. But it was also like having that support. Like, I'm working to support myself through my next journeys to do these things. Like, getting an apartment in Wellington, or doing my internships. I've got that money because I worked for that money.
And there's that achievement that comes with it as well,
So I think, like, for my story, it was more of just I'm on my own wave with this, so I've just got to do the mahi and get by. And seeing this like crypto space, it was kind of just, I just like the technology. That's pretty much it. But when I first invested, I didn't buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. I did a while back, but I thought, oh, Litecoin looks a bit cheap. I'm gonna buy some of that. Oh wow, look where it is now. But yeah, I was kind of fortunate enough to be able to do those things, I guess.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's kind of what built me into that, you know, work ethics and having that money and what am I going to do with it next. And I never actually had any scope of investments or anything like that. It was like, how can I buy my next opportunity? How can I? So that's kind of how I navigated in the financial space.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and then seeing this, you know, with Haycrypto, it had nothing to do with, you know, my relationship or my financial background. It was kind of just like, oh, this is cool. Like, I like education. I like tech. Let's do it.
Let's go in. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you've been making a massive difference. So me mihi, kia koe ka tika tuahine. It's really awesome. And especially it gives people a little bit of comfort in times like this in the market, you know. So like tell us what, you know, from where you're standing in easy crypto, and especially, you know, from that end, working in the space, what's going on? Where are we at the moment? Because I think for a lot of people who are newly getting into crypto, this will be their first big dip, and it'll be scary and it'll be stressful. And people will rightly so be feeling mai and anipa and all of those sorts of things. You know, like can you give us a bit of an idea of where we're at and, you know, how things move cyclically, and maybe some whakaaro about how to navigate this next stage?
Yeah, I think like what we're seeing is like, you know, a big dip and stuff. And I guess we are in a winter or heading into one. It's hard to know. And when I say like a crypto winter, it basically means when everything's like down, probably below 20% at least. But like, I'm not like that knowledgeable in like economics and you know, recessions and stuff. But I think it's the first time we've actually had a crypto winter during a recession. So yeah, it's created a lot of anxiety, and I do see it a lot, like at Mahi and even DMs that I get on Haycrypto. People are just like, I've lost my money. You know, I don't want to do this anymore. And it's kind of like, oh, you haven't really lost money because you haven't sold it yet. But like, I don't say that, but I think that. And I try to portray it like, you know, you haven't really lost anything until you sell it at that value, like New Zealand dollars, then you've lost. So just like hang in there and just ride out the wave. And I think what puts people off most is that a lot of people were buying when it was like, you know, quite
Super
all-time highs.
Yeah.
And then just, and like I really feel for a lot of people that invested in Luna as well.
Yeah.
Because like
But hey, that's the thing. That's why you do those principles. Only invest what you can afford to lose. Like I thought Luna was a solid investment. And then, you know, all the things and even some of the manipulation that's happened behind the scenes, you know, and we're, you know, seeing what that was. But I guess, you know, like I didn't put my entire life savings in it. You know, if, you know, with the loss of that Luna, I can still, you know, like I said before, I could still eat, you know, I could still feed the whānau, we could still have a place to live. So I think, you know, being mindful of those things and then knowing that things move cyclically too, eh?
Yeah. I think having awareness overall in this space and knowing, like, I think it's good to ask yourself, how will I react if, you know, shit hits the fan? And then how can I mitigate this? Or if I know I'm going to react like this, why am I investing in it? You know?
Yeah. Am I overextending?
Yeah. And I think people forget about that until it happens. And then it's like regret, anxiety, hate crypto, and shocker.
And some of those mistakes, or you know, some of those things, like I sent money to the wrong wallet one time. Those I view them, and I was talking to my bro Rawhitiroa about it as well. And you know, like with those things, we can view it as a loss, like, oh shit, I just lost a whole lot of money. Or the way I chose to frame it was like, oh, okay, there's my investment into the University of Crypto. I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
I check the wallets very, very, very carefully. And it's those sorts of things, eh? You know, like if we have those, then, you know, say investing in Luna, I thought that was a sure bet. It wasn't. So that's going to make me just think a little bit deeper about, you know, next time, what are we
What
looking at?
can we do better? Yeah.
Massive. Hey, I've just seen a comment from Elizabeth about a group of nannies in their 70s who have wallets invest and they DCA and they've gained in flipping real estate both here and in Oz, all in a short period of time. Kaumātua are a wise group of people and I would not underestimate them. And no way. Definitely don't underestimate. And actually, one of the things that I've been really stoked about is there's a few kuia and kaumātua who came to the block party, one, and who tune in every single Blockchain Navigators Wānanga we have, which is awesome because,
cool.
like they've got the wisdom of years. They've seen recessions. They've seen market cycles, all of that sort of thing. The only thing that I was thinking is that, helping our kaumātua with the tech, with the technology, because they've got the wisdom for sure, and it really excites me. Like I was really, really stoked. In the front row we had a kaumātua and kuia in our block party, and I was just like, awesome, too much. It was really, really cool. Yeah. So Wahine, looking forward now, so we've kind of looked back a bit about kind of your journey coming into the space, looked at what's happening now, what's happening with the market now, what's happening with the kaupapa that you're working on now. Looking forward, you've talked to us a little bit about this NFT project, and we'll let you spill the beans on that later on when you're ready. But kind of pai tawhiti, far horizon, what are your whakaaro for us, especially for Māori in this space?
I think it's, don't be afraid to learn. And I think that's the main thing. That's all I can say. Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to have a tutu or to try. And I say that because we're already scared. I'm not scared, but we're already, have those challenges with money. Like, I don't have the money for it. I can't invest. I'm just getting by. But it's like, it's free to learn.
Yeah.
And I think all you need is time. And some people don't have time. There's the thing. Some people don't have time, but they have money, vice versa. But yeah, don't be afraid just to try. And I guess don't lose yourself in the space.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people lose themselves. Yeah. Even to keep your tikanga and stuff. It's so easy to see other cultures in the space that you don't bring your values with you. You shut them out because you just think that's the way it has to be, but it doesn't.
How it's done in the space. But we can still be Māori.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. That's mean. Any last kōrero that you want to share with our whānau, with our kaiwhakarongo?
Oh no, I think I've spilled enough. But I really hope that everyone took in what I was saying. It was awesome, having a kōrero with you.
Yeah, beautiful. And I really want to mihi to Wahine Māori in this space, really leading in this space and helping educate in this space. Once again, at te whānau, if you haven't already, if you're not already following, check out Haycrypto on Instagram. Nui ngā rauemi, nui ngā akoranga kairoto. There's heaps for us to learn, and it's a way that we can all learn together. So e mihi ana ki a koe tuahine. Tēnā koe mau e whakaako nei a tātou, mau e arahi nei a tātou, mau e whakaawe nei a tātou, like being an inspiration for us as well as teaching us. So yeah, real privilege to have a yarn with you, and look forward to our next one.
Kia ora.
Kia ora mai tātou.